Thank you. Guys, we have had almost an hour or so in our seats, and I think I can see a few sleepy places. So, whenever I go on stage, start, which is starting an honorable panel like this, I make people stand up. Is that okay if I make you stand up? Right? Fair? Can we all stand up, please? Yeah, speakers as well, right? We've been sitting for a long time, so the blood's not really flowing too well for us. Look at your right or your left. Find a person, give them a high five, say, hey, hi. Nice to meet you, man. If you don't know the person next to you, oh, you can do it to me. I never said stop. Oh, no one there. Look at the back, right? Try and just stretch to your right, not my right, to your left, to your front, and those who can stretch right down can try and do that. Come on, guys, sit down. You've been a wonderful sport. Give yourself a round of applause. When we move, energy moves with us, and I really want us to be really energetic as we move forward. Right, we have about 40 minutes, and I'm going to assure that this session is going to be one of the best for you to take back, because all of us are using that little thing called AI or artificial intelligence in some shape or form in our life. But let me take you back to 1800s when electricity entered factories. And in those factories, the owners initially only put it to replace steam engines. Productivity did not change. But when they realized that electricity could build them motors and that could enhance their productivity, factories started doing something really different. The scale of industrialization started going up. Today, AI is that electricity. We are all using it to, get better with our emails or copywriting our marketing and small things like that. But we are not talking about tools like that today. What we are talking about is how these AI tools can shape the future of businesses, make them more scalable. And to hear about how that can be done, we have a wonderful panel here. So I'm going to quickly introduce our panelists today. On my left, starting with Adarsh. Adarsh is someone who's into strategy and venture building and focuses on commercializing AI. We also have Ashutosh. Hi, Ashutosh. So Ashutosh Kumar Jha is into growth and technology operations and is scaling AI tech stacks and operational efficiency. He's also working with some ventures and funding some ventures as well, Ashutosh. That's what I've heard about you. Thank you. We have Neelima, who's a futurist and data scientist. And, she works on what we call it as data quality, ethical AI, and things around that. Happy to have you here, Neelima. We have Ankita, who's a legal IP and data privacy expert and works with trust, IP protection, DPDPA compliance, which is the new baby on the road. So thank you for being with us today. And finally, we also have Prasanna, who's into transformation and strategy, and he's focusing on digital transformation and integrating AI in businesses. So thank you all for being here. Can we all welcome them with a round of applause? Thank you, guys. I'm going to start with Neelima, you first. As a data scientist, you see that engine under the hood, as we call it, right? So beyond the chat GPT hype, what is that one AI capability that startups are currently missing out on?
Thank you, Amay. Thank you, Startup Expo, for giving this opportunity. I'm very happy to see hundreds of people. Probably some people have gone for a break now, but many of you having the passion, not just to learn AI, but also learn how to implement AI, right? The need of the day is that. Gone are those days when each of us was learning Java, Python, C, or any programming language to prosper in our career. But right now, AI is automating many things. Take cloud computing Claude or Codex or any of these platforms, they can automate the process, right? But how to use them, that is a problem. If you have a right perspective, right mindset to do that, that is very important. You all remember, right? The startup or a GCC, all these companies depend on multiple workflows, right? We use ERPs, CRMs, or some places RPA is also used, robotic process automation, where automation is done, but at a semi level, because there is human intervention at multiple places. There is one step done, then there is some human intervention. And of course, the process is complete. But now, after AI has come into picture, when I'm speaking the word AI or AI, when I'm using the term AI, it is artificial intelligence, but I'm mostly focusing on the GenAI LLMs and agentic AI, because this is the hype of it, right? AI has been in existence for more than 60 decades, 6 decades, sorry, not 60 decades, 6 decades, more than that. But now AI has become very prominent because of the explosion of the data and because of more wonderful processors that have come into picture. But this technology of LLM, GenAI and agentic AI can automate the process from start till the end. For example, if I tell you, you all remember, right? 3 to 4 years back when we called our bank, what was the first question? May I know your name, your account number, or please type in your... There was a human being who was interacting with us for her or him to tell our bank balance. But now, how is the process? Multiple times, I just call up and then she says, hi Neelima, please share. It is not a human being, it is an agent that is talking to me. And every process, the complete process is automated from top till end. So it is, what are they using? They are using agentic AI. When agentic AI, simple example of me getting to know about the bank balance, what did I do? I called up. The agent behind could understand my number. It knows my number. And added to that, it could also identify my voice, because voice detection is possible through AI. And then it only asks me for some passcode, which I give. Of course, it is confidential to me, right? After that, it is coming up with an answer, a set of questions which are automated, and then it gives an answer. This is agentic AI. It is amazing. Once, do I have time? Little more time, maybe 3 to 4 minutes.
30 seconds or so.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll take a little more time. Once I was held up in an airport, the flight got delayed by 3 hours or 4 hours. And I wanted to use my card, one of the other cards which I haven't been using for a long time. Then I said, okay, let me try using that. And I'll tell you, it was at 11 p.m. in the night. But I could resolve using the card by making 4 calls. One to the bank and one to the support center and one to the restaurant where I was using. All were agentic AI. Everything was agentic AI. So end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're a startup owner or maybe you're working for a GCC in a critical role, please try to understand, especially the mid-level and at the programmer level, the perspective mindset has to be changed, where we have to think about completely automating the process. There are many tools and techniques available, many agents are also available. Programming is no longer a problem. The only thing is how to streamline the process, completely automated. Of course, you have to keep into mind the ethical AI aspect on which I have a greater expertise. So responsible AI terms, which probably Ankita will speak more on it. That part is important, but otherwise we need a greater change of mind perspective so that people understand it and grasp it to keep it into their business so that everything will process fast. For the matter of YC is very popular, right, across the globe. Now, just recently they have come with a scenario where they're asking solo founders. We are okay even if you have 10 agentic AI. Solo founders who will become a unicorn.
Wow.
Did we ever imagine that?
No. Super. So that's where the world is headed, and surely it's not a hype right now.
No, not at all a hype. It's a reality.
It's a reality.
And get set. We have to go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Adarsh, coming to you, you work a lot with founders and ventures, right? We see many AI rappers. In the previous panel also, we heard people criticizing, supporting rappers per se. How do you distinguish between a company that is just riding the hype and one which is really building a scalable, defensible AI business model?
Thank you, Amay. There are a couple of ways to look at it. One is from the inside lens, where we ask this question: if I have to remove AI from the product or service, what is the value that is left behind? Now, we may have all used AI tools, which will, say, for example, help us create content for a social media post, a LinkedIn post. So we may use it once, we may use it twice, But if you remove that tool from our life, what's going to happen? Are we going to go back to the old way of writing it ourselves, or are we going to switch to a new tool? Instead, if you look at its product, which is integrated to your customer service or your Salesforce, where in which you see the AI right through the workflows, right from documenting conversations to tracking follow-ups to monitoring decision making. If we remove AI there, probably we will see that the team is experiencing a slowdown. So the question is that how well you can integrate your solution to the workflow of the user so that they feel compelled to come back to it on a repetitive basis. I think that's the real mode that you are creating. Second thing is very importantly, AI today allows you to wipe code almost everything from a thought to a prototype in less than 2 hours. Like for example, we heard the solutions we could think of in the early session on healthcare. Now, I'm sure that few of us, if we sit together today, maybe by end of the session, we'll have a workable prototype which can probably be taken to production in as a web app or a mobile app. But just because we can build a product doesn't mean that we need to shortchange the process which precedes the building activity, which is where we are having consumer conversation with prospective customers, we are having conversations with domain experts. The emphasis should be more on that. We should never shortchange and build something that we are not very familiar with. Because there, while the product might still appear to work to solve something, it may not hit the scale because the reality of how a consumer end up using it do not resonate very well with what you aspire for. From an outside angle, there are two things that I would like to highlight. First is that technology itself. Last year, sometime this time, I built an app which converts an image into a 8-second video. I feel quite happy about it. And then Nano Banana came out, where which Google made it free and available for everybody else. So technology literally killed my product not exactly overnight. It took like 2 weeks. That product was dead. So when we are building products which are essentially a AI wrapper, for lack of better words, you are losing that moat. You don't have the moat wherein which it is not integrated into the lifestyle of a person or the workflow of an organization. Then we are very likely to be replaced or made redundant by the advancements that we see in the foundational models. The second aspect here is the investors that you choose to work with. Of course, more or less, we don't really choose. We tend to go with where the money comes from. But if we are strategically and patiently choosing the right investor who understands that this is not an overnight game, this is not something that you are going to see rewards in, say, 1 month, 3 month, 5 month, but is somewhere you need to stay invested for, say, a 2-year, 3-year period. I think that will give you the confidence to actually follow what you really want to build and follow the classical way of building a product. What that allows is to make sure that you are not short-changing or taking shortcut in product building in any of the aspects, and therefore you are improving or increasing your chance of success. The last part is that I want to call out a dichotomy in the conversation here. What if I don't want to build a scalable product? Well, last November, I was at an event from Anthropic, and there was a chap who was sitting next to me, and he had built a app which converts old black and white photographs into color. So after a while, I started thinking, isn't that what Nano Banana 2 does? So I asked him, like, how is your product or your product performing? He said, yeah, I get around $2,000 every month. Then I was curious. I asked him, like, okay, who are your customers? So essentially the people who are in the 60s, 70s, who have a backlog of the old photo albums from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, who want to convert that into a color photograph so that they can share it with their grandchildren or great-grandchildren. They are his customers. And he was not doing this full time. He was okay. Therefore, this was more of a hobby project. Will it scale to $1 million business? But no. But he was quite happy getting that 2 lakh rupees every month. Thank you.
So, I mean, that's a great thing, right? Something that you built around this time last year was something completely out of business by October, November of the same year, right? That's how fast AI is moving and changing our lives. But my key takeaway from this was don't shortchange the process. I mean, that's very important when you're building a product. Coming to you, Ashutosh, your ventures, you go ahead and make investments also, or advise people how to make investments. From a growth and ops perspective, how do you see, or rather, what would you see as talent requirements and how they change when moving from just, an AI business to now a scalable AI business, right? Something that will keep scaling over a period of time. What are the talent requirements that you look at? Because that's also important as a part of the ecosystem when you're building scalable businesses.
Right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll give you a quick intro about us first of all. So we are based in California. It's early stage VC fund that we run. The reason why I'm here because we launched our India dedicated fund, and we have been investing in India. I have 31 portfolios. Since you guys are in Bangalore, you probably know Beehive, Co-working Space, Consumer AI, Docify. These are a few local companies that we have made investment into. So we are sector agnostic in our approach. So we don't advise. Our job is to invest and then help companies to grow to a level that we reinvest again. So we typically invest first 100K and then give $1 million if you scale at the rate that we want to see. Right. So coming back to your question, first of all, how many founders are here in the room? If you can get a quick raise of hands. Right. So the thing is, in this world, what's happening in AI? Everyone is talking about AI. If you're just building AI, that doesn't mean that you're going to get successful, right? Because the couple of things that I always recommend our founders in general in our portfolio, like I mean, how many of you are building MVP? Most of the time, a bunch of you are building MVP, right? And then you go and then scale later on and then raise funds. I mean, the mindset is wrong. If you start building MVP in a way that, okay, you're technically inviting yourself that, okay, I'm open to, pivot and then rechange the model that I thought of. So from day one, it's a mindset. Scalability doesn't come from like, okay, build the MVP and then you scale, you raise the fund and then you go to the scaling part. What you need to be doing is like mindset from day one. So think from the customer point of view. Like you have not dated someone minimum viably, right? No, right? You're not in a minimum viable marriage. Then why you are building a product that is minimum viable? Think from the customer point of view. Build it with love, right? If you build the customer, love point of view, a product, then it's scalable from day one. You don't need to worry about the pivoting the stuff. You evolve, So the terminologies that has been taught in the West like 40 years back, this is the high time that we need to change those things. Like we don't need to go lean anymore. We need to go aggressive with our approach. So that's how you build the scalability, if I say. And then just don't follow the hype. Like, if you build from the customer-centric point of view from day one, life is easy. And then put the feedback mechanism in the loop. And then, from that, listen to your customer. Don't chase investors at all. Like, don't come to me and say, hey, I'm building this. What do you invest? Like, go talk to your customer. Make your customer. The greatest example that I've seen here in Bangalore is the company called Software. The app. Not the app, but the ride-hailing company. They built from the experience from day one for the customer. They never had to raise funding from the investors. Later, investors chased them, hey guys, like I know you're building amazing, can I invest? So stop chasing investor. From day one, chase your customers, make sure your customers are your first investors, and then from there, life is easy. So I'm happy to add more inputs on, we have an amazing person walking in here. He's with Beehive, which is one of our amazing portfolio company here in Bangalore, so we are very proud. I don't know if I answer your question, but I mean,
no, that's really great.
Mindset,
yeah, it's a great perspective. It's not really about the talent and the tech capability. It's about the mindset, and what I really liked about that from you is don't just blindly follow what the West has been doing for like 4 decades, 5 decades. When I guess the US is in its 7th or 8th investment cycle, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to funding startups, but we are like maybe just 2-3 investment cycles right now. So
we are early phase of honeymoon in the venture space right now, and we have seen the maturity that is happened in the West already, right? So we need to make sure that we prepare for not going south, in a way.
In Hindi, I would say कि हम तो अभी भी दुल्हन ढूंढ रहे हैं. वहाँ पे तो शादियाँ बच्चे नाना नानी सब हो चुके हैं.
And one point I'll just add, building a company from scratch from day one is like 3 horizon process, by the way. Horizon 1, when you test everything, when you're about to hit the market and ready for the market. Horizon 2 is when you are ready for the scalability point of view. And Horizon 3, when the unicorn are being built. I can definitely go back in deep later on to be respectful of the timing. I know we are lack on time.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to add here, people who are in the Horizon phase of your startup, probably by the time you hit Horizon 2, Horizon 3, they are irrelevant. So you need to hiring and firing, these are all art, like so few core team will always stay, and that's the evolution how the things, evolve at times. And building a unicorn, unicorn is a mindset basically. Like you need to be hardcore disciplined, aggressive from day one. Talk to any of those unicorn founders. It's like a different trait that you can see in their personality. So it's like the mindset that you need to shift from the day one.
Thank you. Thank you for that share. Prasanna, coming to you, you talk about transformation and building that in multiple businesses, right? Scaling is not just about tech anymore. We also heard about the mindset perspective right now. Now, what do you think distinguishes a business that's been built using AI from just being some other business on the road to, I know this is going to be scalable because of this transformation coming in? Where do you see things changing for just another business to a great scalable business?
Thank you, Ameya. Firstly, big thanks to the event organizers, EVENTEX, and Dr. Anup and team for putting such a wonderful event together. Secondly, also thanks for the question. I believe from a perspective of scalability, moving away from hype to actually AI making do the work. It's nice that Ashutosh already touched upon the mindset, and I'm fully with him. I believe that a lot of us are lost in the experimentation mode, which is great. We need to experiment because those gives you insights. But I think from a scale point of view, then you really need to be thinking very hard, which is basically moving away from what Ashutosh said, from an MVP to actually what you deeply care about. Coming to my point of view, where I strongly see that it's important and we need to change this attitude here, it goes back to really looking at it from inside the business. What happens is typically ownership for this aspect is not clear, which creates the problem. No, because at least we are in the mode today where we're talking about agentic business and so on. But at least as of now, we're working with people and we're working with different groups of people. Very important from our business, if you want to scale, you have to really have that clarity with regard to who is owning what when it comes to scaling AI. That's where I would put it. Second, I think we need to move away from this thought process of, which is basically, I have a tool, I have this, if it's not touching your top line or bottom line, and if it's not making a significant impact, I think it's just, again, another waste of your time. So it needs to be very clear and from day one. So not everybody can be Ubers, not everybody can be valued like that. So get your basics right. You have to touch the top line and bottom line in some way, whether it's efficiency or whether it's new business, new product. It has to hit there. Until then, you don't have anything. It sounds hard, but I believe that this kind of a mindset is what really differentiates ordinary against, you can say scalable businesses. Last but not the least, similar mindset. I think if you look at it, there is this concept of entrepreneurs and highly successful entrepreneurs, which is basically comes with a word called effectuation. Now that is possible because those who sit on the other extreme are so obsessed with it or so clear in terms of where their focus is, which means they will not probably even do other things. The same thing needs to be applied if you want to scale from an hype to AI perspective. You need to really have that focus with regard to what am I scaling, what is this for me. You need to win in your own terms. I hope I've answered.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think clarity, that point on clarity that you mentioned was so important. People just start without being clear about what they're building and where they want to go, and that's a very valuable advice for anyone in this room, right? If you're not clear, you don't have the power to go ahead and transform things at a later stage. Thank you so much for that share. Coming to you, Ankita, and I know you've been patiently listening to this. We've been having some conversations when we're seated there. In the rush to scale many startups, a lot of times trust as a factor gets overlooked, right? And with the DPDP IT Act coming through and the GDPR and all these wonderful terms, legal terms being thrown across the table in every boardroom, every startup founder's conversation, what is that one legal or ethical mistake that you feel would destroy the scalability of any AI business?
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that question, Ameya. My question to the audience, everyone who's sitting here, how many of us are building AI products? Just a show of hands. In the legal industry, there's a joke which floats around that AI founders, they sleep with 50 users and wake up with 50 million and they have no idea what their AI told the users. So the reality is that there is so much automated decision making which is happening all the time, and honestly from a human point of view there is as much as you can know. So it then brings in a lot of legal, ethical, concerns. As a lawyer, my area of practice is technology and intellectual property. I feel like almost all startups in today's time are missing that you can scale and become a $1 billion company, but one major lawsuit can kill you. ChatGPT, as we speak right now, is fighting a litigation against ANI in the Delhi High Court, wherein ANI has sued ChatGPT for copyright infringement because ChatGPT literally reproduced an entire article which was published by ANI. The biggest mistake which I see, most of the founders are in a hurry to just market their innovation. You will see the moment you have a product ready or a service ready, you're on YouTube, you're speaking at conferences about it, and you're pitching to investors, and then you don't even have a patent for it. That's the reality. At least I work with a tier 1 law firm. We see it every second day, and and totally keeping Ashutosh out of it, we see that sometimes VCs just copy that idea and start their own company. You don't have any proprietary ownership over your idea because you've marketed it at so many places. If you have an innovation, if you think that this is a solution which is innovative, keep it to yourself before you have an IP for it. That's my biggest advice. Do not put it up on YouTube. Do not put it up on your website. I literally see founders coming to me and saying, hey, I'm a $1 million company now and I want to get 6 patents registered. And I'm like, okay, can I get details about the products? Hey, it's on YouTube. Your novelty is completely destroyed. Please do not publish that marketable material anywhere. Also, when you're going to investors, when you're speaking to potential investors, vendors, people don't have NDAs at all. In India, I think that concept is completely, out of the place. Legal is seen as a cost. That's the reality. Everybody thinks that lawyers are just trying to deter or, stop me from doing things. We're not doing that. The moment businesses start taking legal as a part of business, that's when your product is actually going to scale. You can become a $1 billion company. Today, Reddit has lost a major lawsuit to a very small company called Radio in Singapore. It's a trademark dispute because Reddit got their trademark registered in Singapore after Radio. So a big company like Reddit has lost to a 2-member company in Singapore. That's the kind of risk we're talking about in today's space. I can actually talk about so much. India today has a Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDP. How many of you know about it? How many of you have started the compliance? How many of you are thinking about it? The time's up, guys. The act was enforced in November of 2025. As per a Reuters report, 93% companies in India have not even started their compliance. We're looking at a May 2027 timeline for enforcement. It takes about 5 to 6 months for any company to become compliant with the act. We're working cross-border. Your data is being trained maybe in India, hosted in Singapore, deployed in the US. You have to actually follow so many regulations, the GDPR in Europe, the CCPA in US. The DPDP in India, nobody knows anything about it. The moment they go for a series A or a pre-seed, that's when, they come rushing to lawyers. I don't even have a trademark for it. What do I do? And when we do a trademark search, that mark is not available. So the idea is, coming to the whole point and trying to wrap up, please start looking at your business from a legal compliance point of view also, because you will have to do it. Do it at a preventive stage rather than a penalty stage. Start talking to lawyers. That's my idea. A trademark in India is literally less than 10,000 rupees. It's nothing.
Thank you. We just done with our time, but I'm going to take maybe 2 minutes and ask one common question to all of you. We'll start with you, Prasanna. If somebody is building an AI startup today, sitting here in Bangalore or even in India, what is that one thing that you would advise not to do and to do, so that they build a scalable business? And we're going to move from Prasanna to Neelima to Ashutosh.
Thank you for that. I think not to do, definitely just don't be another wrapper. You're not going to exist anymore. Please have a unique differentiation capability. That is what you can go further with. Otherwise, it will make no difference.
Thank you. Neelima, how about
Yeah,
you?
whether it's a wrapper or a product from company, when you're coming with an AI product, please make sure you have the responsible AI standards embedded, like ethics, explainability, all these are covered in the DPDP Act. So gone are those days when people were just using it. If it doesn't work, they would have stopped. Gone are those days, because across the globe, regulatory actions are coming, like EU AI Act, which is mandated from August 2026 in Europe. But most of our clients are from Europe or USA, right? US also has come up with US Senate Act, which mandates explainability. So please make sure fairness, security, explainability, and hallucination should not be there if you're working on LLMs. Yeah.
Super. Thank you. Ashutosh?
I'll take 30-40 seconds. First of all, I agree with so many points that Ankita mentioned, and also respectively disagree with a couple of points that she mentioned as well. As an early stage founder, I think you need to have aggression in you to build your company. So what she said a little bit about like signing an NDA and VC steals your idea and build their own. We don't have time for stealing ideas from founders to build. We have invested in 266 companies. We have seen 10,000 companies so far. If you keep signing the NDA before the pitch, it's not going to work out. So VC money is not for you. So no VC sign an NDA before they listen to the pitch, because that's going to be an internal conflict of interest, because we listen probably the same ideas again next day as well, right? So, but at the same time, I agree with you when you said, like, if it's the deep tech companies, like where there is like, you need to be patented. The idea can never be patented. Like if it's a product and innovation, then IP, that you need to be also protective on what you're building as well. So Ankita, kudos to you on those points. But VC will never sign an NDA. And early stage founder, I mean, probably you might want to have someone who has a law background a little bit, who can deals with this stuff. But you need to focus on customer. You need to have aggression to build your companies. Otherwise, like, you need to talk to the people about ideas. Hey, this is what I'm building. Give me the feedback and keep improving that, because nobody has the time in the world. If you approach the whole market with that mindset that, okay, if I share the ideas and someone will steal, you're not going to build the unicorn, to be honest. It's an open market, like everyone has an idea. So idea cannot, execution matters. So again, just last 10 seconds. If your customer is not paying, your AI is just a demo. So stop doing that. Like, make sure the customers are paying customers from the day 1 or day 2 or day 0, like, so approach the market from customer love point of view and you build the unicorn. That's it.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you. So firstly, I agree, Ashutosh, that VCs and lawyers would never agree, but that's okay. My biggest suggestion to founders would be stop oversharing. I agree with Ashutosh that you do have to share, and there are certain times when you can just not, keep it to yourself, but putting up your innovative solutions all over the internet, from an IP standpoint, it destroys novelty. Do not do that. Later on, I'll tell you something, when we do a patent search, right, something which exists in the US also, right, can be a prior art to the Indian patent. That's the kind of, limitation we're talking about. So sometimes we see that some of the solutions, they're actually published in research papers. So do not do that. My suggestion here would be very, very simple, that keep your IP private and secure it at an early stage. Start complying with the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And if you're working with, several jurisdictions like Neelima said, then GDPR, CCPA, EU AI, there are several acts, and all of this compliance, trust me, can be done. If you're just GDPR compliant, then rest of the other acts are iterations. So you can do that.
Yeah, one small question. I thought publishing in blog or a research paper also comes under prior art,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yes.
So if I have a product, see, for problem with me is, for me is, not just for me, for all the people, if I have to raise a patent, it takes huge amount of time. Even for filing, it takes 6 months. Why should I keep quiet until the 6
So
months?
once you file, right, you get a priority date, which means
It takes time for me to file.
it takes
So
3 to 4
parallelly,
weeks.
I'll do filing and also publishing on a blog, and then which I'll distribute in the social media.
No, not recommended at all. Filing itself, filing a patent takes about 2 to 3 weeks, right? If you file a provisional application or a complete, I don't know who you've been, working with, but it's typically less than a month to file a patent. And within that time, that's when we say that, keep it to yourself. Once you've received a priority date, go ahead and do whatever.
And just to
Thanks.
add one more thing,
Neelima,
GDPR Act is different
Neelima,
from
we
EU.
are running out of time, hopefully. Adarsh, parting thoughts from you.
Parting thoughts, all right. What I feel is that if you're building something for which customers will keep coming back to, make sure that that is something that they can build a habit out of it. Otherwise, it's just a hobby project.
Lovely. So if I have to just summarize everything that we said.
I'm adding one line. It's nice that we have a lot of difference in the panel, and that's really good. It's good for the diversity. So I will also say, answering your question, if you're starting now, you also don't have to mimic the West. You don't need my friend's Ashutosh. You can probably build it yourself. And Ashutosh himself said, your customer is the key person whom you should go behind. Then VCs will come chasing you. So you don't have to go to VC for money. You can, if you build it right, things will come to you, and you can start organic. That's not a problem. It will take time, but that's also a mindset. Thank you.
Lovely.
VC, I would say, last line, don't raise if you don't need to. Let us chase you and let us request you
And
to
that's an
be on
ideal
the cap
word,
table.
right? That's an ideal word. So thank you guys for your wonderful shares. Just to summarize, build with your customer in your mind, build aggressively, don't build for convenience, build for scale, but most importantly for future compliance, and build it ethically. Thank you guys for your wonderful participation today. Thank you.